Oh dear, if it's not one thing, it's another. No sooner is Hollywood weathered the absolute storm that blew up around Supergirl, causing irreparable damage to female-led superhero movies and probably James Gunn's career, then another tempest looms on the horizon. And I'm not talking about the kind that this Galadriel cosplayer was banging on about. There's a tempest in me. I mean another potentially devastating audience backlash, this time against Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. It's a film that's already had its share of controversies and criticisms, everything from the postmodern feminist translation of the source text to the cinematography, costumes, historical authenticity, look and feel, and worst of all, the casting. And it will not be quelled by you, Regent. Not only is it a movie based on an ancient Greek legend with no actual Greek people in it, but well, the people they actually did cast were questionable at best. And holy did people make their feelings known? At the time of making this video, the latest countdown trailer is sitting at 48,000 likes and 213,000 dislikes. God only knows what it'll be like by the time you're watching this video. Either way though, that is brutal, man. I've never seen anything like this on a Christopher Nolan movie. Make no mistake, this is more than just a few curmudgeons on the internet fighting a culture war. This is a mainstream, widespread backlash against this movie. This is the kind of shitstorm I haven't seen since Snow White. It's Hollywood, baby. And it's interesting to compare this to the backlash against Supergirl, because in some ways, I can see the parallels between the perception of the two films. That doesn't make sense. No, stick with me here because I am going someplace with this. Supergirl had the bad luck of landing right at the intersection of three major problems in modern entertainment. 1. Superhero fatigue. 2. Girl boss fatigue. And 3. James Gunn fatigue. All of those factors combined together to sour people's anticipation for the film before it even released. Because us humans are pretty good at pattern recognition. And let's be honest here, we've had a pretty bad run of female-led superhero movies and TV shows over the past 5 years. And we've had an even worse run of James Gunn-led projects. Keep serving up food at your restaurant and guess what? People are going to start complaining and then they're going to stop showing up. But the Odyssey might be walking right into its own little intersection of stuff that people are getting increasingly pissed off about. For example, 1. Race swap fatigue. 2. Gender ideology fatigue. And 3. Zendaya fatigue. Let's start with the first one because, well, it's first. Now, you don't need me to tell you that there's been a frustrating rise in the race swapping of established characters and in some cases, actual historical figures in recent years. And of course, it only ever goes in one direction. There's this weird assumption that every other culture, race, and ethnic group in the world are entitled to their own unique stories, history, and identity. And it all has to be carefully fenced off, protected, and respected. Whereas anything created by white Europeans is treated like some generic all-you-can-eat buffet that everyone's allowed to stick their hands into. Black female Vikings? Sure, why not? An Asian Isaac Newton? Of course. An English Tudor queen who's somehow African. It just makes sense. You sure about that? You sure about that? Well, no, actually it doesn't. And you know what? I think people are getting a bit sick of this. They're getting sick of being written out of their own cultural heritage, and even their own history. They're getting sick of being labeled racist just for pointing out something that's provably, verifiably, and they're getting sick of being expected to just shut up and accept it. Which is why the casting of Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, one of the most iconically beautiful women in all of literature, hit a bit of a sore spot for a lot of people and probably came at the worst possible time. Now, personally, I like Lupita Nyong'o. I think she's a talented actress, but come on, man. There's no way you're convincing me or anyone else that she was the right person to play this role. It's an act of lunacy. That's right, Sean Connery. It is. You know what's also an act of lunacy? Casting Elliot Page in this movie, which brings me neatly along to my second issue in the unholy trifecta, gender ideology. Now, we all know that Elliot Page recently transitioned from female to male, and that's fine by me. I hope he's living his best life now and that he's happy and fulfilled. But it does create a bit of a problem when it comes to casting, because Elliot Page is 5 feet 1 inch and weighs about 90 pounds soaking wet. He makes Millie Alcock look positively statuesque, and no amount of shadowboxing videos is going to change that. Notice how they put him next to the smallest man they could possibly find to try and make him look bigger. Well, your Jedi mind tricks won't work on me, son. Anyway, he's playing a Greek soldier named Sinan, who was never actually mentioned in the Odyssey or even the Iliad. But who cares at this point because we're just winging this, but I mean, how? What is he supposed to fight against? I mean, his own armor probably weighs more than he does. The moment he's on screen amongst other men, he's going to look like a small, malnourished child playing at soldiers. Believing in this kind of crap requires the same kind of mental gymnastics that allows 5 feet 3 inches in Scarlett Johansson to beat up a room full of men twice her size. Again, it's something we've all had to collectively suffer through for like a decade now. This notion that men and women's fighting potential is even vaguely comparable. And well, nobody buys it anymore, man. Especially in a movie made by Mr. Ultra-Serious Christopher Nolan. This isn't some cheesy action flick, or a dumb superhero movie where believability sits firmly on the back burner. This is meant to be a grounded, realistically portrayed narrative, and it looks ridiculous. The third issue is a less prominent one, but I do get the feeling it's becoming more prevalent as time goes on. And the best way I can describe it really is Zendaya fatigue. Right now, it just feels like the girl is everywhere. Not only is she in 4 separate high-profile movies this year alone, plus Euphoria on TV, but she also seems to be getting lavished with so much news coverage and fake praise that it's becoming exhausting. Again, much like Lupita Nyong'o, I've got nothing against her on a personal level. She seems pleasant enough, and she usually comes across well in interviews. I mean, I can't say I'm a huge fan of the perpetually confused scowl that seems to pass for her acting style, but maybe that's just a personal thing. The point though is that her rise to fame just feels astroturfed. She feels like an actress that's popular because someone in Hollywood decided she was going to be popular, and not because there was this huge swell of fan support for her. She's like a